Hey y'all, this week we're building a wine rack to fit into a compact closet using some leftover cherry boards. After cutting out a few strips and getting them down to size, I started by building the frame first, and with that I built the two sides. Each of these sides are going to be held together with pocket screws. I'm making sure that the pocket screws are in the inside of the frame so they'll be in the least visible position when done. One of the best parts of this mini workbench I built was this plane stop and having a flat reference that at any point I can push up against to get a good solid contact. I then finished building the rest of the frame by screwing in the 4 side pieces, also with pocket holes. And this completed the outer structure of the wine holder. Now to set the bracing, I made a few templates to help get my spacing right. And that's when I realized I cut the wrong dimensions here. So after removing the pocket screws, I had to cut out the side pieces as they were glued in. Then I had to cut down the legs to the appropriate size. I then re-drilled for the pocket holes, cleaned up the leftover glue residue, and then reassembled. Now with the correct spacing, I used my spacer blocks to put in what will be the vertical supports with glue and brad nails. My intent for this build was to do just this. Brad nail each piece in place, as this design has a lot of stringers and a lot of short pieces that need to be put together. But you can see the first problem I had was the nails weren't completely setting, so I had to continually go back and reset them. Then as I got farther up these supports here, you can see while I've got plenty of room there to get the nail gun in, this top one started to get a little tricky, and this is where I realized I didn't have enough space for the nail gun. So in the project plans, I actually redesigned this section. And what I would do next time is build out the middle pieces. There are 3 of them that go inside this. Build those outside the frame, and then insert them into the frame where it's much easier to attach after all the cross bracing is on. Some of these were so difficult to get in, I couldn't even get nails in them. I ended up just gluing them in place. But I think that's a good entrance point into my new website. I've now, after many requests, have started building plans for my project, and I'm listing them on stumblingbearwoodcraft.com. To help get some feedback on them, I am giving away a free plan for anyone who goes to the website. You can get your first plan for free by using the code on the screen. I did have a few nails find their way out of the boards, so a quick cleanup of those, and then a sanding across the entire thing. Another piece I'd do differently is I would make sure I break all these edges and get these sanded before installing, as this was a pain to go in and try and get every surface after having nailed them in. I finished this in a water-based poly. I chose to do the rattle can version as it would be way too difficult to try and brush on this with all these different pieces. And this is what the final product looks like. You can see the gaps between the cross pieces give enough space for the bottles to easily slide in and out, yet they're pretty secure sitting in here, and it holds 3 bottles tall and 4 bottles across. This one ended up being a lot more challenging than I expected, but those plans have a much easier way of putting this together if you want to try something like this for yourself.